Okay, let's get started. Welcome everyone. My name is Aurelien Meunier. I'm a lead developer at The Edge. I've been there less than a year, and today I will be talking about remote onboarding of developers in a growing tech company. Do not hesitate to ask questions. We have people from our HR and tech teams who are in the chat room, so they will either answer you or we can answer the questions at the end of the talk. So, why this talk? Well, first of all, starting a new job is pretty hard. I guess that most of you know that already, but well, it's a thing. And why is it so hard? Well, it's mostly because when you get started, you don't know anything. You're like Jon Snow. Everything is new. You know nothing. You don't know the people. You don't know the process. You don't know the code base. And because we're talking between developers mostly, and you also don't know the habits. How are people talking together? How often do they meet? And if they have like very strong quality bars or not. Of course, you usually have an onboarding process, and the onboarding is basically the mechanism that helps new people, new developers in our case, become more effective and acquire the necessary knowledge, skills, and behaviors to, well, be able to do their job. So it's not only about the tech and product stuff, of course, it's also about HR process, about administrative work. It's, yeah, getting you. No, please don't mute me. I was saying it's global. It's not only about tech and product stuff only. And as most of you are probably working with agile methodologies, the onboarding process is very agile too. It's iterative. You get some feedback from the people you onboard and you improve it. And it has to be agile because as you get more people on board, the onboarding process, of course, has to evolve. It's critical to have a good onboarding process because first impressions are very important. And the onboarding process is going to be the first few things your new employee is going to have. So, why is it so critical? Well, based on statistics from the Harvard Business Review in 2015, so it should be quite the same in 2020, a third of your new hires are going to at least look at a new job or search for a new job within the six first months of joining your company. And almost 1 in 4 will leave the company before it's 12 months in the company. So that means that you really have to do a good job at onboarding to lower these numbers as much as possible. And based on statistics, it takes someone at least 8 months to be fully operational. So faster we get him or her on board, well, the faster he or she gets operational. And this process is critical also in our industry because the tech industry is known to have a very, very high turnover and developers leave companies very, very fast. So why am I talking about this is because I joined The Edge in 2020. The Edge is a technology and marketing, combines technology and marketing to help hotels sell online and leverage the entire distribution chain. Our job is to help hotels, and we've got 12,000 clients today, be able to sell their rooms online, whether it's on booking.com, through Google, or from their own website. We are over 300 people today with developers, product people, marketing, client support, technical support, sales. So lots of people at The Edge, and we're growing and growing very fast. So for me, in 2020, my onboarding was planned months ahead. I was invited to the company event, to the yearly company event that took place a month before my first day. So I was kindly invited. And my job is to lead a new technical team in Nantes, because we have offices in Paris, Barcelona, in Italy. We have one in Bordeaux and now one in Nantes. And we also have a few ones outside of Europe. And for my onboarding process, of course, I had planned to go to the headquarters, which are in Paris, to do some training at my computer, a talk with developers, lead developers, and all those people that can get me up to speed. And also, I had planned to go to Barcelona for the project handover, the project I was going to work for. Unfortunately, my starting date was March the 30th. So if you are not from France, this means that it was 2 weeks after the confinement. So obviously, being in Nantes, I was not going to be able to go to Paris. So that's too bad. I'm not the only one, because we had 11 people in the R&D department alone join the Edge during the first confinement. And while it was kind of a surprise in March, remote is now becoming a new reality. We are confined again, and we better all be prepared. So what I want to discuss is how the onboarding can be made better, especially for remote people. This does not mean that we're only going to discuss remote onboarding, but the basics is that remote onboarding is very hard because it amplifies both the good and the bad parts of your onboarding process. So you really have to be good at it and to improve it so that, well, people joining don't feel too alone, or are able to get the skills that they need to start doing their job. This is all based on external and internal feedbacks I got, some documentation too, especially the GitLab, with a company that is very, very good at remote developers, and also some common sense. I will try to be focusing on R&D specific problems, but of course there will be a few general ones. First of all, onboarding includes getting your hardware. So did you get it? Because if, like some of the people I talked to, you were confined in March, April, or June, you may not have been able to get your computer. Fortunately for me, I have a nice setup. This is not the one that you're looking at your screen, fortunately for me, but it's still nice. But some people don't have a personal computer. Some people don't have a good computer, or a second screen, or that stuff. So obviously, the first thing that you need to give to your new employee who is starting, who is joining while remote, is getting his or her computer. So don't forget to deliver it very, very early, and also have it configured as much as possible, because there is nothing more frustrating than having a computer with no VPN and not being able to connect to the company information system, or all the developer tools and all that stuff. And while you are at it, you could also deliver a welcome package, because, well, it's hard to get a feeling of the company, and just a few things like stickers. Developers are known to love stickers, but also welcome package, or even welcome cards. For example, at Pfizer, which is a 100% remote company, every time someone new joins the team, every member of the current team sends a postal card to that person directly to the home. The aim is simply to feel them welcome, privileged, kind of loved, actually. So, deliver. But the first thing that your remote employee is going to feel is confused, because he's going to join first day, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning on a Monday, and, well, There is no reception when you're remote. So who are you going to talk to? You're not going to do like, hey, hi, I'm Aurelien, I'm new here, because you don't know, you don't even know which chat systems they use. So first thing first, get prepared. Send them a mail ahead. I had a chance to have a product manager who had prepared everything for my onboarding process, including meeting with the training team, the HR team, and one-to-ones with the people I was going to work with. But that's obviously not enough because, well, how are you going to feel part of the team? First day remotely means also you don't have a lunch with your team, you don't have a coffee with your team. And it's pretty hard to get a sense of the overall company. And for example, when I started, I felt like we were a 30 or 50 people company, whereas The Edge is 350 people today located in over 20 countries. And that felt weird because, well, I didn't meet that many people. I did meet quite a couple, but still, I never met 350 people. I didn't go into an office with I don't know, 50 or 100 developers in the same open office. So if you really want to have your new employee get a feeling of how the company is, who is within the company, there are a few things. First of all, you could do a global welcoming on Zoom or on Hangouts or Teams. You don't have to do it for every employee, but you could do it like once a week or once a month. And the aim is to cast light on the newcomers, to help everyone see their face and hear about their name. You could also send an email, a global email, and some companies also suggest new people to give a talk on a subject of their choice in the first few weeks of their job. That way, they can share some knowledge and they can talk, and people will see them and will know who they are. What we do at The Edge too is send an email to the new member. I got an email from the CEO, and this really helped because that was like, wow, yeah, I'm part of the team now. And of course, announce yourself. Send an email to the whole company. Don't be shy and just go for it. And don't go only like, hey, hi, I'm Aurelien. I like movies and I like books. But try to give a few things for people to hang on, like which books you read. Or in my case, I talked about how I like boarding games. I sent a couple examples, and I had a chance to have a lead architect, the lead architect of the company, that talked to me because he just sold his first board game this year. And we started talking, and then we took a coffee remotely. And guess what? Today, we still talk every week over remote coffee. Hi, Jeremy. And last thing, I heard about some companies who do a virtual tour of the office. So if you're not 100% remote, this could help because at least people see where most people go when there is no COVID-19 crisis. And yeah, feel the office as if they were here. So let's talk developer stuff. In my case, what I would really like is like have my manager, lead developer, buddy or something like that, come to me the first day and say, here, you have all your logins on this page or in this mail. You get all your keys and access to the softwares you need. And while you are at it, you could also check out the source codes and read the coding standard that we have. Also, you'll see we will meet every morning at 10. This is the link to the meeting. Please come by this morning or tomorrow morning when you're ready, because I know that you have some HR stuff today. The aim of this is not to have like just an email and a message and something impersonal, but to get from day one all the tools and things that I will be using every day, and that way I can get started with finding my routine. And of course, the best experiences I got were when I was able to get started to get coding from day one or from week one. But to do that, your team really has to prepare stuff, because you can't just like give the source code and let people like comment and break the production or whatever. And what you want is to have very well documented projects or tasks that are broken down in very small steps. And the newcomer will be able to check out code and take a look at your ticket system, and then dig around. But with very small and well-documented tasks, they will also be able to have a feeling of doing something useful and that the team will actually use very, very fast. And of course, this has a good point for the team, because if you get that person coding quickly, you also get an immediate feedback on your getting started process, whether it's on the documentation, whether it's on the DB access, the tools, the softwares. And this is very good, because if you wait a couple of weeks to do so, this person will have heard here and there about some unspoken rules. And there are tons of unspoken rules in our teams, especially dev teams. For example, how do you access the logs? How is the monitoring done in our team or in the global team? What the actual architecture is, because you may have an architecture schema somewhere in your documentation, in Confluence or something, but is it actually the one that is up to date? Is it the one that you wanted, or the one that was actually implemented? Also, DB access somewhere is kind of tricky. And you also want to document all this stuff well, because if there is a problem, if the knowledge is lost at some point because someone leaves the company, you don't want the knowledge to leave the company as well. And if you have everything in your documentation and a newcomer is able to do all this process within the first couple of days or weeks, it means that your onboarding process is actually pretty good. And so there are many, many things that we need to give to a newcomer, especially in dev and product teams. For example, what is the current state of the project? What are the new features that we are all developing currently? And which clients are the most important? Which ones are the toughest? And yeah, how do we work, basically? The worst is when you're remote, you don't have access to the person that is on your right. And if you're trying to dig around and saying like, but oh shoot, why is this project not starting? Well, when you are in the same office, that person that is on your right may be able to say, oh yeah, sorry. If you are on Windows, yeah, you need to update your host file or something. Well, we haven't updated the documentation recently, sorry. But yeah, let me help you. And this is okay to have someone on your right helping you. But if you're remote, you're not going to have that person. And you may be blocked for hours and hours or maybe days because, well, you're feeling a little shy. You don't want to ask anyone every question you have every 5 minutes. So above all else, what you need is to assign a mentor or a buddy, some people say. This is a very good practice in general, but I think it's even more important for developers, and even more important also when you are remote. And the mentor should be a person that has sufficient technical knowledge, for example, your senior developer in the team. And this person should ping the newcomer every day and several times a day to say like, hey, hi, is everything going well? And were you able to install the code base, or were you able to start the web server? The aim is for the newcomer to not get stuck in the first few weeks. Remember, someone that is new has like level 0 of autonomy. He or she doesn't know anything, and it can feel, we can feel abandoned if we are getting started and I'm stuck and I just don't know what to do. I don't know who to ping. So have a buddy, have a mentor, that helps a lot. And related to this topic, one thing that I regret and not doing earlier is getting in touch with the people that were arriving at around the same time as myself, because I think it would have helped getting to know more people, and especially people that were in my shoes. So we recently just started a group chat together to like get to know each other, and I think this is something that we can do from the first couple of days or weeks also, and keep in touch so that people see that they are not alone. Also, there are other people that are feeling pain because they don't know anything about the company, and you can help each other. Okay, daily stand-up meeting. If you're using agile methodologies, you probably have a daily stand-up meeting. It's usually around like 15 minutes. And this is tough when you're online, because communication is like 55% through nonverbal. So that's why I have my camera today. And usually people in stand-up meetings either don't open their cameras, or you don't see if they're standing up because probably they're in their chair. And it's hard for daily stand-up meetings and for meetings in general to keep them short when you are remote. But this is important because you want to preserve the people in your team from losing too much time. And I don't like meetings. I have a lot of meetings, so I like them short, I like them effective. But on the other side, when I'm a newcomer, 15 minutes is pretty short in my day. So what happens after? Like if it's 10:15, my daily stand-up meeting is over, will not be able to talk to anyone after that, because usually I grab a coffee after the daily stand-up meeting, or we'll see each other at lunch, but this is not going to happen. So to help have more contact with the people you have in your team in under 15 minutes, what I suggest is having an organization chart with photographs on your website. This is something that we have at the edge, and it really helped me at the beginning to see who Jonathan was and who Pierre was and who Delphine was. And if you can, please don't just use avatars, or not all the time, because this is definitely not helpful, especially for newcomers. And I've just talked about coffee. Coffee is basically my favorite time of the day. I like my morning coffee with my team, and we can discuss all kinds of things, whether it's related to work, but not what I'm doing currently, but what we could do, and some thoughts I had in the morning. And well, also just to create some connection with the people I'm meeting. And it's especially important at the beginning, because this is where you create connection with the people in the company. This is where you learn a lot of very various knowledge that is not formalized in the onboarding process. So how about a remote coffee? It's not as nice as a real coffee, but still, you could meet new people. For example, at the Edge, we have a coffee roulette, which is basically every couple weeks or so, there's an algorithm that picks people at random that are available for at that time slot, and say it provides a link to a meeting, and people will be able to meet each other. It's for people from every team, so it's not only developers and product owners, but also from any department. And about remote coffees, I also took it on myself to send messages on the first few days to people I wanted to meet. So for example, all the lead developers and several product owners, Jeremy, the architect I talked about earlier. And this was tough because I didn't know them and I didn't want to disturb them. But at the same time, it truly helped me understand how the company was working and who the people that were doing the work were. So I suggest that even if it's hard, send emails, shoot a few messages just saying, hey, I'm new here. Would you have like 10 or 15 minutes to grab a coffee and discuss what you're doing in the company and whether we're going to work together later? You could also try remote lunch. This is not something that I've done yet. And we also tried an open kitchen room on Hangouts. And this is not something that worked because, well, basically, I tried the first few days and I was logging in and nobody was there. So I was logging out. Maybe someone has an experience with an open kitchen room remotely, of course. So if you do, please say it in the chat and maybe we can share your success. And yeah, finally, now that we are confined again, what I do with my team is I grab a morning coffee every day. So we have a time slot in the agenda where that says like coffee Nantes, remote coffee Nantes. And the aim is to just do as if we were together. All right, developer stuff again. Communication. I know that us developers are not usually the best communicators, but we do need to communicate. And especially we need to communicate between developers of the same team so that we don't write work from each other and that we don't do twice the work. We also need to unblock each other because obviously in your team, you will have people that are more experienced on the front-end stuff or on the database, or maybe on this specific area of your product. And well, while usually you are in the same room and you can just say, hey, Romain, do you have some time so that we can discuss this specific problem? You could still do it when you're remote. So you don't have to always be focused with a headset, music, and boom, you're on, you're coding. And this is, it's true that remote work is good for getting focused because nobody is going to enter the room and disturb you. But you also want to have some time with your fellow developers. So maybe you can set up a few time slots for pair programming. Or what I do with my second team is we have daily tech discussions, which is after the daily stand-up meeting, we have something between 15 and 30 minutes just to discuss the technical problems that the people are experiencing right now. This is not something that is mandatory. So if we do not have any blocking points, we do not discuss this in details. But this is a time that is in the agenda and we are all there if we need, and we can take decisions together. While I'm talking slots in the agenda, also suggesting that you put focus slots in yours, because while it's easy to get focused when you're remote, you can also have that annoying little bubble or chat popping in because someone just shoots you a messages on Hangouts or Slack. And you don't want that. You want to have some slots in your calendar where you're completely focused and you stop your notifications. And this is fine as long as you're all aware of when you are available and not available. Okay, ask for help. So I am a newcomer. Don't know anything about the process. I don't know anything about anything. But it's hard to ask for help because maybe in the channel there are like 100 developers and I don't want to be a newbie in front of all of them. But some channels are for that. There are channels that are here to help newcomers get on board. And I've heard about a good practice that we don't have currently, which is have a separate channel for every newcomer. This is a just for you channel with a couple people that are from your team, that are expert on a few things, maybe the HR that is following you. And all these people are there to help you get on board, to help you get to speed. And this channel is restricted, so there aren't 100 developers, so that it's easier to ask for help. Seriously, over communicate. As I said, we're not the best communicators, but you need to communicate when you're getting on board. And this is key. And the over communication needs to be both ways, which is when you're a newcomer, you need to over communicate. You need to say when you're blocked. You need to ask for help. You need to ask for that damn key that you don't have and that you need to be able to launch your IDE or whatever. And you also need to help your fellow newcomer developers. So over communicate about anything, like send them multiple links, send them documentation. It's okay if it's like too much information at the beginning, but over time, it will really help them. And as a lead developer, I know that it's also my job to make sure that everything is said and the newcomer has everything. And this is not only about people getting on board. This is also obviously about being remote, because when you're remote, if you don't talk, if you don't send an email, then we don't know where you are. We don't know what the status of that task is. We don't know if it's done or not. So distance is really all about over communication. And if there's only one thing that you probably need to keep from this talk, it's about over communication. It's also about over documentation, because documentation is the only thing that will be there for everyone to see at any time when you're remote. It's about sending status emails. It's about technical decisions. It's about all the process that the team has, which is something that might be unsaid, as said previously. But take the time while you are remote to over document things. That will really help you. And I've put that joke. Don't forget to update your tags. This is something that we had between ourselves in a previous company, where we were always joking about our product owner, saying like, "Hey, please don't forget to update your tasks." And today, as a lead developer, with people all being remote, this is something that I also ask, because like obviously I don't know what's going on if you don't update your tasks. So this is Antoine. He's our CTO and he's my manager. And what I would like to say is it's sometimes a little bit hard when you're getting on board to know what is expected of you. If you have just joined a company, you can understand that. It's hard because you do not know how much work is done by someone with the same who has the same job as you. So you don't know how long stuff takes. You don't know if you're good or if you're just like way behind. You also don't know what is expected of you about self-training. What we put in place in the Edge is a D Academy platform. This is how we call it. It's basically modules to help you understand our products and also understand some technical, very specific details about the company and its process. And as a trainers, we have a dedicated team for that. They assign you to programs, and that way you know which ones are mandatory and which ones you're supposed to do in the first few days, in the first few weeks, or maybe later when you have some time. And also, as a developer, I don't know how much code I'm supposed to send every week or so. So this helps if, as a team or as a lead or as a manager, you put down expectations in an email or doing a chat, so that everyone knows what's the standard, and especially when the first task that is assigned to you is supposed to be delivered. So this is the end of the talk. If you're interested about knowing more about the Edge, feel free to shoot any question. This is the second meetup, tech meetup that we're doing. We're going to host one every month. We have job opportunities today that are opened, especially in Barcelona, and also a developer full stack in Paris, Nantes or Bordeaux. You can contact Salimata, our talent acquisition manager, about that, or you can ask me any question. The next talk will be about making mobile app development simple with F# and Fabulous. And this will be hosted on December the 15th. I hope you enjoyed this talk and you learned a few things. If you have any question, now is a good time. Also, if you want some resources, I have a couple of good readings, especially the Télétravail Guide, remote working guide from Fizer, which is all in French, and also obviously the remote at GitLab guide. Yep, that's it.